On today's episode of the Mark Titus Show, I'm still thinking about that Kentucky win over Duke. I'm still thinking about Cooper Flagg last few possessions. I'm still thinking about Andrew Carr mismatch. I'm still thinking about really that entire game. What a game. What a game. That was perfect. That's exactly what college basketball needed. I've been down on the Champions Classic for a little while now. It feels a little played out. We need to spice it up a little bit. Some people suggest getting Michigan State out of there. Some people suggest figuring out a way to get UConn in there. Gonzaga's been thrown around, and then people say, now hang on a second, it's called the Champions Classic. Gonzaga's never won a championship. We can't put Gonzaga in there. And then people say, well, what about Michigan State? High-definition television didn't even exist last time they won a championship. I don't know. But the Champions Classic, especially you turned it on this year, the attendance was terrible. They're teasing the college football playoff bracket. And, a little part of you is just like, what are we doing here? What's the point of this? Like, I thought, I remember when this used to be like a fun college basketball event. Now there's no one's there. Everybody's bricking shots. They're talking to me about, like, NBA draft stock of all these guys instead of, like, the actual college basketball, prospects of these teams. And then you're teasing this college. So you're bringing in Reese Davis to talk about BYU's resume and football. And I'm like, what the fuck's going on with the Champions Classic? And then the Duke-Kentucky game saved it, and I haven't stopped thinking about it since it happened, and we did the show and broke it all down. If you missed that, go check that out. Meanwhile, we're doing fraud power rankings today. It's a Thursday, Friday show, end of the week show. I want to go through the fraud power rankings for the week. We're gonna do some cross-off lists too. We're gonna go through the. I love this idea. The tarred and feathered is what they're calling Tate and I. I'll let you decide. I'll let you decide which one of us is feathered and which one of us is the other guy. We're doing the tarred and feathered cross-off list. And, I've seen enough to cross off some teams. We'll do that. We'll do that at the end of the week. I like making that a weekly segment that we do at the end of the week. Not a lot happened between Champions Classic and this show, so we'll do some more broader picture. I think just some housekeeping, by the way. I think that's the plan for the show throughout the season. I think I envision we're going to do 2 a week every week, and I envision the first show of the week being like a breakdown of specific games. Here's what we saw this weekend. It's kind of what we did on Monday was, the Auburn-Houston game and the North Carolina-Kansas game, and here were specific moments from these games over the weekend. And the end of the week show, unless there are some banger games throughout the week, I see that as being more of the macro. We're going to do the fraud power rankings, the cross-off list. Cold-ass white boys, I've been getting a lot of suggestions, a lot of I don't know if suggestions is the right word, questions, a lot of prodding. When are we getting the cold-ass white boy power rankings? Give it time. You cannot rush the cold-ass white boy power rankings. Last year, I felt like last year was an anomaly, and it happened organically because I'm just sitting there watching all these games, and I'm watching Dalton Connect and Reed Shepherd and Purdue's guards, and there were so many of them across the country, and I was like, oh my God, is this the year of the cold-ass white boy? And it kind of happened organically. Now this year, there are some prospects. I'm taking notes. We're putting it together, but we can't rush it. So we're not going to do cold-ass white boys now. It will come. Give it time, but yeah, we have to let that happen organically, and there's the list being put together. Just give it some time. So we'll get to that. But today we're gonna do fraud power rankings. We're gonna cross off national title contenders. Might do a little NBA talk. This NBA Cup, I find myself in year 2 of the NBA Cup. I find myself way more into it than I thought I would be when they first announced that they would be doing it, and. Yeah, the NBA is getting pretty interesting, so we might talk a little NBA. That's on the docket for today. Let's get into it. All right, like I said at the top, we did the Champions Classic show. We did a live stream. I know we put it in the podcast feed. It's on the YouTube, the Rumble, whatever else. So if you consume the show, I'm sure you saw it. If you didn't, you can go back and watch that. If you're someone that's on the the 2 a week cadence, and now it's the end of the week, and you're like, let me check out the Titus show, and you're expecting us to talk about the Champions Classic. I don't think we'll do that much on this show because we did a full hour about it. So go check that out from a couple days ago if that's what you're looking for. Between then and now, not a lot going on in the college basketball world. Ryan Kalkbrenner continues to just never miss. Mm-hmm. That's kind of the story. He's missed, I think, 3 shots on the season. Is that correct? Do I have that? Last night?
Yeah, last night he was 6 of 6.
Last night, he only had like 16 points, I think, last night, but he did not miss. I think he's
Yeah,
only
he shot 91%, 90%, and 100% on the season. Not bad.
He's 3 for 3 from 3,
Mm-hmm.
right? Do I have that? You have the numbers in front of you?
Yeah.
What is he from?
He is. I'm trying to do math. 3 of 3 from 3. He is 6 of 6, 9 of 10. So do that. 15 of 19.
15 of 16.
15 of 16.
It's 10 plus 6 is 19.
And then 20 of 22.
All right, so it looks like I'm feathered and you're the other guy.
He's missed 3 shots. You're right.
He's missed 3 shots of any. Well, how many free throws did he miss?
He's missed 2 free throws.
So he's missed 3 field goals and 2 free throws in 3 games, and he's averaging 20.
Averaging 30 points, 7 rebounds.
He's averaging 30 points, and he's missed 3 shots on the season.
Early Player of the Year candidate.
And they've played a gauntlet of a schedule, have they not? I mean, Houston Baptist.
I think we
Texas.
could cross off all 3 teams.
We could cross off those teams. You said Arkansas. I was tied up. I was tied up last night. I couldn't watch a ton of games, but Arkansas had a close one.
Yeah, Arkansas
was.
They didn't have a close one. They ended up winning by 16. But there was a time. Let me see. They were down 1 at the half to the Troy Trojans.
No shit.
Mm-hmm. And it's the same thing we said. Shockingly, that once they started getting live ball turnovers into buckets, they ran them out of the gym. Big Z 5 threes.
5 threes for Big
5
Z.
threes.
I like Big Z. I see the vision. I see a 7'2" guy that can shoot. That's obviously awesome. I'm a little worried that Big Z is out there just to do that. That's all that's going through his mind is just like I gotta put this shooting stroke on tape so the scouts see it, and that's kind of what he's out there to do.
What's up with John L. Davis? Again, 7 points.
Oh, he's not.
Is that what they brought him in for?
No, it's not. It's not at all.
He hit his second 3 of the season last night.
Yeah, I think he's expected to. If they're gonna fix their shooting problems, it starts with him. I think.
Mm-hmm.
I have to imagine he's the guy. I know you said Big Z hit 5, but I don't think you're looking to your 7'2" center to be like, hey man, we can't shoot. We're gonna need you to night in and night out hit threes for us and stretch the floor. It's got to be John L. Davis, but yeah, he's not been great to start. Anyway, there's not a ton to really, overanalyze. So I thought we'd talk NBA a little bit.
Yeah.
You want to start with NBA? We'll get to the frauds in a second and the cross off. We'll finish with that. But
is there any? How would you organize our NBA talk? Should we start at the top of the standings or should
No, let's start with it. The Cavs.
Okay.
We've teased talking about the Cavs on the show. We haven't really explained to me why the Cavs. Is it just the coaches change? Is that it? Like the Cavs haven't, especially the same roster. They were good last year, but they're also an NBA TV playoff team
for sure.
Which is
them.
Like they make the playoffs, but then it's like, did anybody watch? Did anybody watch
the
any of their
in the first round last year? And I don't think it was on television.
Yeah, like it doesn't. So it's like they weren't. No one was taking them seriously as contenders last year. Now they're officially 13-0.
Yeah, they're 13-0. They made the switch. They went from JB Bickerstaff to Kenny Atkinson, and he has them playing efficiently on both ends of the floor. Darius Garland, I think, is the biggest change right now. JB Bickerstaff had the world convinced that Darius Garland wasn't a good basketball player. And he's out here being a killer right now, efficient, passing the ball, scoring the ball, and then he also allows Evan Mobley to play with more freedom. So if you remember last year, we lost to the Celtics, which Titus, everyone did.
Yeah.
Everyone did.
Everyone lost to the Celtics.
And there was some sort of hit piece right after the game that was like, we got to blow this up. Mobley can't play with Jared Allen. Garland can't play with Donovan Mitchell. Which 2 do you want to keep?
Yeah.
And that's quite the core 4 right there.
Yeah.
So the Cavs front office did something that people questioned, which was, hey, let's just fire the coach and run it back with 4 talented dudes.
Keep the players, fire the coach, yeah.
Right.
As it turns out, talent's not the problem. It's
we're averaging 122 points a game. We're 13-0. People said, hey, play somebody. Okay, we played the Warriors. Okay, now last night, did you see we played the Sixers last night, and they can't play back-to-back, so Paul George and Joel Embiid sat out. Yeah. But I saw one of my favorite things in basketball history last night, which was Donovan Mitchell never had a triple-double in his entire NBA career. With a minute to go in the game, went up to score a layup this close to the hoop, Titus, and threw it. I
saw that. He did like a Ben Simmons. It looked like Ben Simmons when what was the playoff series where Ben Simmons hit rock bottom? But I remember he cuts to the bat. They throw him a pass. He's right next to the rim and he just would not shoot. He wouldn't even he wouldn't even jump to dunk it. And he just kicks it out. It was it looked like that. It was like a wide open
screenshot, the screen freeze of him I mean, there's a 100% chance he's laying it in, and then the ball ends up in the stands because he tries to get his assist.
How do people view Ricky Davis was on the Cavs when he did it, right? How do we view that? When we look back on that moment, is that a bad move? Is it fun? It's funnier than it is like.
Well, I'm trying to find what the score was at the time because that's the biggest question to me. The problem with last night's is that it almost cost them the game, and they're 12-0.
Yeah.
And Mitchell did apologize. Yeah, okay. Cleveland is up 120-95 against Utah.
When Ricky Davis
with 6 seconds left.
It's way funnier than it is like unethical. But at the time, I remember people were laughing, but there was also like some conversation about like, I mean, come on, man, we gotta respect the game.
Yeah,
you know?
he had 26, 12, and 9. I have no problem with that.
That's pretty funny.
Utah's
one of the funnier. I mean, like, how many years ago was that now?
That was in 2003.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's been decades, and I still remember.
I mean, the Cavs are rocking
so
the baby
fucking
blue
funny.
and
Yeah.
black. And
oh yeah, dude, what an era. NBA Cup is. I still don't really know what they're playing for or why it exists, but I'm into it. I will say, like year 2, I found myself, and I'm into it for this reason. I think the players are into it. I think that there's. I think at the end of the day, like that was why they did it was, they presented it to the fans as like we're trying to get people to care about regular season NBA basketball more. So you fans should care more because the courts are going to be different. We'll give out a trophy at the end of this. But I think it's what makes the fans care more is just the players care more. Like if you know that when you're watching these games, the players are going to try and going to play in the games, it matters. Yeah, maybe I'm just maybe like I'm overstating it because of the Warriors Mavs game was fucking awesome, and maybe that was more just Clay coming back. But watching that was incredible. Watching Steph, it was vintage Steph, vintage Clay, except they were on different teams. The whole scene was awesome.
Yeah,
I don't know. I was like really into the whole thing.
I mean, I would say it's a little bit different, but it's like the discussion about all the All-Star games. If the players cared about the All-Star games, that would be the sickest event in all of sports because it's the best players. If the players will care about this, the idea of taking an 82-game season, or if you did in baseball, 162 games, and making something matter, like we're going to have a single elimination knockout round. That's fucking awesome if the players care about it.
Yeah, I mean, the Sixers saying we're not doing back-to-backs or whatever, like that, I don't think they or maybe they do know this and they just don't give a fuck, but I don't think they quite understand the league as a whole, how damaging that is to like getting casual fans to give a shit. Like you cannot outwardly just say like we're taking games off and we don't care. Like you can obviously find a way to massage it and like still give guys time off, but you can't just straight up say
make the rule, the concrete.
Yeah, so here's we're going into the season. So here's the thing. Like I would say 30 of these games, we just don't care. We just don't care about 30 of the games because then I, as a fan, I'm like, well, why should I care? So I guess that's where I'm at. That's where I've been at with the NBA for a while now. Is like if I can turn on an NBA game and I know that every single guy on the floor gives a fuck and that the teams give a fuck and the coaches and everybody's there to win.
Awesome.
I'm in. I can't get enough of it. That's why when the playoffs roll around, I'm like, this is fucking awesome. The problem is on any given Wednesday night or Thursday night that I'm turning on NBA basketball, I don't know that that's the case. And for me, that's a non-starter. So I guess what I'm saying is that I'm back in on the NBA when the NBA Cup rolls around because it does seem like the guys care. Now that might not be true across the league. And I know the Celtics lost at home, and then as soon as they lose, they're just –
That's where I'm interested is because you said they give a fuck about it. My question is the Celtics lost their first game in the NBA Cup.
Yeah.
I will learn a whole lot as I see them play the rest of their games because do they pack it in and say NBA Cup's not that important, or are they going to try and work their way back into it, which will be very cool to watch. Yeah,
it's interesting how much they – I don't know. Or if they just care more than they care on a given regular season game, it'll matter. But
you know what we have coming up Tuesday? NBA Cup in the same pod, Cavs Celtics. That'll be if the Cavs, and they should beat the Bulls, and they have the Hornets next week at home. They could be 15-0 going to Boston NBA Cup game. That's cool.
A game that the Cavs will badly want. At what point? I asked Brandon Walker this on Mostly Sports. At what point in the Cavs' undefeated start do they treat it like? Do they treat every single regular season game as though it's Game 7 of the finals, and it's like we have to keep this thing going as long as we can? And it actually almost like works against them because they're trying way too hard to preserve this undefeated.
I think, first of all, what I'm seeing is similarities between, as a Cavs fan in like 2016 and what the Celtics are doing now. We did not give a fuck what seed we were. Other teams were like trying hard, like, all right, we need to get this, we need to get this. The Cavs right now are what the other teams were back when we had LeBron. Like, we are trying so hard to win every game. And I think when you're undefeated, you have to do that.
You have to do that.
If we're 15-1, okay, maybe you give someone the night off, maybe you chill out. When you're undefeated, you have to. Whereas Celtics fans right now, and I read a blog yesterday from Greeny, it's like, here's how to act. My point is this: the Celtics do not care if they're the 2 seed. Like, whatever.
That's what the Cavs would do with the like the Hawks and the Raptors and like all those years were like
the whole time.
The Hawks, the year the Hawks had like 5 All-Stars and they were the number 1 seed.
And no one cared.
no one took them seriously.
But now I'm on the other side of the coin. I'm like, hey, guys, you see the Cavs? Like, we're going to have home court advantage.
Yeah. Other NBA thing I wanted to mention, Jared McCain is awesome. And he's absolutely balling out for the Sixers. And I know they lost, but he had like 30-something last
34, yeah.
It's like 3 or 4 games in a row for him.
Yeah, he's awesome.
He's had a hell of a week, dude. This rookie class is not good, and it's hard to find. There are bright spots, but he was a guy that when the Sixers picked up, I don't know. I was like, Duke, he was unbelievable, and I think he could be a good piece for them. But it's always hard to forecast how these guys are going to pan out, especially their rookie year, and how much time they're going to need, and whether the fit is right and all that. And him going to a team that had NBA title aspirations and all this talent, I was like, I like Jared McCain, and I think he's going to be a good piece for them, but I don't know how much he's going to play. I don't know how much he's actually going to matter, how much he's going to have the ball in his hands. It's working out nice that the Sixers are just not playing their players.
That's what it's like like
all their guys are just out, so it's Jared McCain time.
I don't know if it's a win-win or a lose-lose for him. Like, it's awesome that Jared McCain, he's played in all 11 games. He's averaging 19 points a game. They are 2-9.
Yeah.
Like we talked about this in the preseason. We were like, hey, at what point are the Sixers going to fuck around and like get a bad seed? Guys, the Sixers are playing their way out of the playoffs.
Yeah.
So Joel Embiid has played 1 game. Paul George has played 5 games. Tyrese Maxey has played 7 games.
That's crazy.
What are we doing?
That's crazy.
Jared McCain.
And Embiid's not going to that's going to stay consistent throughout the year. That's what saying that at the start of the season is fucking crazy.
Terrible.
That's crazy. You can whatever.
Maybe it's the process. Maybe they're trying to get the number 1 pick.
Yeah. I don't know. The Mark Titus Show is brought to you by DraftKings. The Emirates NBA Cup is here, and you can win big by getting in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. All 30 teams split into 6 groups every Tuesday and Friday, playing for the right to advance in the single elimination in-season tourney, culminating in the NBA Cup championship in Las Vegas. Get behind your favorite players and the prop bets you can make on DraftKings, the best place to get NBA player props. Ready to place your first bet? Try betting on something simple like picking how many points your favorite player will have. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app and make your pick. First time using DraftKings, here's something special just for you. New DraftKings customers bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Score big with DraftKings Sportsbook. Every point counts. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code Titus. That's code Titus, Titus, for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5 only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Enough of that. Let's just get to the fraud power rankings, because I do think Joel. I'll just start with this. Let's do fraud power rankings, and I'll start with Joel Embiid being an honorable mention. I'm gonna put Joel Embiid as an honorable mention. That his return. So Joel Embiid, and we talked about this during the Olympics. How hard it was going to be for me to hate on the Joel Embiids, the Devin Bookers, the guys that showed out for Team USA. And Embiid wasn't awesome during the Olympic run, but we literally do not win a gold medal without him, without the game against Serbia.
For sure.
If Joel Embiid isn't on the team, we don't beat Serbia. We would have lost to Serbia. And I said, when the NBA season rolls around, I got to just keep reminding myself of that. Like, Joel Embiid won us a gold medal.
How long did that last?
It lasted about 26 minutes in his new start, or however many minutes he played in his first game back. Flopping like a motherfucker. Did you see the one clip of him? He was like a guy. He was like cutting, and a guy just like got in his way, and he jumped back like he.
But you do have to remember, he's not the biggest guy. He's very easy to throw around.
Oh my god, dude! 13 points in his return. He's just like 11. 2 of 11, gets to the line. 8 of those 13 points were free throws, right? I think he made like 8 free throws. And then he's got the quote, where he's asked about playing against the Cavs, about playing in the back-to-back, and he said, I know I said I would never play back-to-backs, but I'm a troll, so I'm sure at some point I'll play. I don't know, man. I don't know. I want athletes to have personality, and I want them to be. It's a catch-22 because we don't want athletes to be boring, and we want them to have something interesting to say when you're asked questions and all that. But then Joel Embiid does it, and you're like, all right, never mind.
Yeah. And I don't think you.
All right, never mind. I would rather you just be boring, dude.
Yeah, be boring when you're 2-9 too. Like have your fun, be your troll when you guys are getting ready for the Eastern Conference Finals against the Celtics. That'd be cool. You're 2-9. You just came off a horrible game where you're rusty, where you chose not to play. I don't know. I'm out.
Yeah. Also on the fraud power ranking honorable mention list, Tony Bennett, former head coach of the University of Virginia, and this is an NBA thing as well. Ryan Dunn, who played at Virginia, and was great at Virginia. He's a great defender and was drafted in the NBA, and that was a surprise to nobody who watched him play. But Ryan Dunn cannot shoot for shit. Last year, Ryan Dunn was 7 for 35 from the 3-point line in 34 games, Tate. He played in 34 games for the Virginia Wahoos. He made 7 3-point shots. He shot 20% from the 3-point line. For the Phoenix Suns this year, in 10 games, well, they played last night. I think he hit 2 more last night. This needs to be updated because I was working on my notes, and then he hit 2 more. So he has now hit 17 3-pointers in 11 games, I guess. He's shooting a shade under 40% from the 3-point line. And you know this, I don't need to explain this to you, but maybe someone in our audience doesn't. The NBA 3-point line
I was going to say, the one thing you're forgetting is that his numbers should have gone down.
They should have gone down. He's shooting further, and he's doing it against better defenders, better athletes that have longer arms that can contest these shots.
It makes no sense.
How did he do that?
Who goes to the NBA and becomes a better 3-point shooter?
It doesn't make any sense at all. He's got better odds than I looked it up. He's got better odds than Dalton. He's not going to win Rookie of the Year, but he's got better odds than Dalton Connect to win Rookie of the Year, which I think at this point last year when I was watching them both play, and I was like, yeah, they're both going to be in the NBA next year. I never would have guessed that. Dalton Connect is a pure scorer, you know? I guess Dalton Connect going to the Lakers probably factors into that.
Was the 3-point line too close for him?
Maybe the 3-point line was too close for him.
He's not a mid-range guy.
He's starting for the Suns now. He's turned into a great 3-and-D guy, and he's done it in the snap of a finger. But he is going to get so many guys in college basketball that are great athletes paid and drafted high. Because I think that there is a thing amongst basketball coaches, and I know this to be true because I'm not even a basketball coach, and I believe this about myself, Tate, that you can teach anybody how to shoot a basketball. I believe that basketball coaches believe that you can't teach height, you can't teach athleticism, you can't teach well, maybe you could teach defensive instincts. I was about to say you can't teach defensive instincts, but maybe you could teach some things. But really, a lot of the anticipation stuff you can't teach. A lot of the, a lot of that stuff's hard to teach. So you find those guys. You can teach shooting mechanics. You can teach these guys how to shoot. Ryan Dunn is proof positive of that. I believe that I can. I believe that everybody in this office, if they really wanted to, I could take them out there and we could work on Cody. Cody's ears perked.
Cody would be a great
that would be a
lab
great
rat
test.
for that.
That would be a great test.
Cody shot it. I'm not taking shots at Cody. Cody can't shoot.
TJ would be a good test.
TJ, I haven't seen you shoot. How do you shoot?
TJ,
bad. I've shot on camera a couple of times, and I posted a shot on my Instagram story once, and Geo Baker and Ron Harper Jr. swiped up on it, and they both asked, "Which hand are you shooting with?" They were like, "I've watched this clip 5 times. I can't tell if you're shooting righty or lefty."
TJ told me that,
it
and
would be a great.
Ever since you've told me that, every time I've seen you shoot a basketball, I can't think of anything else but
yeah.
These guys say that. Are you left-handed or right-handed? But the point is, I think that I do believe that basketball coaches, and certainly at the NBA level, are like, I can teach a guy how to shoot. Yeah. And I think Ryan Dunn is just going to further that belief that people are just going to take guys who can't shoot for shit, and they're like, fuck it, dude. I'm not worried about his shooting. Once I get my hands on him, I'll be able to teach mechanics. I'll teach him beef. I'll teach him the beef, the elements of
balance, size, elbow, follow.
Absolutely, dude. We'll beef it up in the practice gym, and we'll get him to shoot. And Ryan Dunn might be that guy.
That's great news for bad shooters everywhere.
I do that too when I talk about like draft prop. When the draft rolls around, I'll do that. It's always just this guy's 6'7". He's who's the guy that comes to mind? Like a Josh Jackson back in the day, which doesn't feel like that long ago. He was a freak athlete. What the hell is he up to now? Was a freak athlete that couldn't shoot. Where is he playing?
Last played for the Stockton Kings.
Yeah.
In the G League.
Dude, freak athlete, was 6'7", was
6'8", 207.
207, long arms. Everything about him is like you see that guy, he passes the airport test, as I call it. You see a guy walking through the airport and you're just immediately like, holy shit, dude. That guy looks unstoppable. Couldn't shoot for shit, but I was like, dude, I would take him. I would draft. Of course, I would draft him like top 5, top whatever, dude, and make him. I could teach him how to shoot.
Yeah, you give coaches athleticism and talent. They think they can overcome shooting and they can overcome attitudes. Are the two things that coaches always think they can do better than others.
Yeah, funny enough, he was taken 4th overall by the Phoenix Suns, the same franchise. So, yeah. Anyway, Tony Bennett. Tony Bennett was so allergic to offense that I guess Ryan Dunn was just like.
He wanted to fit in.
I just want to fit in. He can't shoot.
Fit in,
and now
he didn't want to show he could shoot.
Now he's on the Suns and he's turned into a shooter. Other honorable mentions we got to put on the fraud power rankings. I mean, we got to mention Kyle Neptune.
Yeah, this is an honorable mention.
Last week he was an honorable mention because I told you Kyle Neptune is not a good coach. Kyle Neptune is just not a good basketball coach. Kyle Neptune is very much on the hot seat.
How many games does he need to lose before he becomes a fraud?
Tate, like I told you last week.
Oh, yeah, I remember now.
To be a fraud, there has to be some semblance of like, we think this guy's good.
And you know he's not good. So
Kyle Neptune was coming into the season as not good. He was a not good coach that was put in an opportunity where he can convince Villanova and the Villanova fans and the Villanova decision makers that I actually am a good coach. And we are 4 games into the season, and he's 2-2.
2-2.
Just lost to St. Joe's at home. He is in. I thought it would be hard for Kyle Neptune to keep his job after the season. Like I figured, like he's very much going to be a candidate to be fired at the end of the season. He's in midseason trouble, dude.
At what point do you have to? You want to be first to the coaching portal, the coaching.
Yeah.
Like at what point do you? Because you know he's not going to be here next year.
Yeah.
So what's the point of him recruiting and going to sit in high school gyms and doing all this stuff, going to people's
if
homes? You know he's not going to be here.
You know he's not going to be here.
Who's committing to that?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what I think Villanova fans would have fired him yesterday, last week. I think they would have fired him if they had the power to.
He's got Virginia tomorrow.
But also, can you fire a coach in November can you fire a coach in November for non-scandal reasons? That seems crazy. That seems pretty crazy to me. By the way, the whole Big East might be on fraud watch. It's looking right now like a 5-bid league at best. UConn, St. John's, Creighton, I think will comfortably be in. I think Marquette's comfortably in. Xavier should be in. I mean, it's very early. We'll see. They got a big game against Wake Forest. We'll know more about Xavier after that. And I think right now I would say they're an NCAA tournament team based on how we're feeling that'll shake out. After that, it falls off a cliff.
I was going to say, how bad is the bottom?
Seton Hall's 1-2. They just lost to Hofstra. Butler lost to Austin Peay. Villanova's taking it. The bottom is bad. DePaul is sneaky, not terrible, but they're also playing nobody. But they just won
3-0
back-to-back games by 30 points.
Speaking of Big East, you need to get to your boy Thad. Did you see Caitlin Clark?
Where she's at?
I'm telling you, if you hit Thad up for tickets, you will be sitting next to Caitlin Clark. She goes
to every game?
No, not every game, but when she sits there, she's in these VIP, hey, coaches gave you seats. That's where you would be.
DePaul opened the season going to overtime with Southern Indiana, and then they bounced back to beat a very good Prairie View A&M team and a very very Mercer team.
All 3 are still on the list, just so you know. All 3 are still national title contenders.
We haven't crossed any of them off. Yeah, the Big East, I'm worried about as a whole, as a collective, but no, they're going to have, at the end of the year, the St. John's and UConn might look like title contenders. Creighton could be. I don't know. Creighton hasn't played anybody yet, so we'll see. They could work their way into form. But, yeah, the Big East is not looking good, and Villanova.
I'm excited to see UConn, for you to see UConn out at Maui, because a lot of teams are playing these big premier early season games. UConn has beaten the shit out of New Hampshire, Sacred Heart, and Lemoyne.
Yeah. I
need to see them play some.
I'm just hoping, I'm honestly just hoping my mind's sharp enough to, like, absorb what I'm watching. Because, like, I'm just worried that I'm going to be fucking grinding out there and I won't be able to.
And you're going to have to deal with the jet lag.
Yeah, the jet lag.
Weather.
Yeah.
You know, when you go from cold to warm,
It's gonna fucking suck, dude. Yeah. It's gonna suck, and there's so much basketball. There's so much high level basketball being played. It's gonna be hard, but I'll do my best. I'm the hardest working man in show business. I will find a way. Also on the honorable mention fraud power rankings, Charlie Baker, president of the NCAA, who told Dan Patrick that there's room for the NCAA tournament to grow to as many as 76 teams. This is I don't know why. Just fucking do it or don't. I don't know why. This, like, every 6 weeks it feels like there's new breadcrumbs being
we float
tossed out there that we're going to expand the tournament.
What does 76 look like? So we add. Are we adding 4 more?
We add 18. Yeah, I don't know.
Like to become the 10 seed.
Just do 128 for me. Just go from 64. Just add one more round.
Are you actually for that?
No, but I am. I'm not for.
I don't like these random play-ins.
That's what I'm not for. I'm not for. Like we're seeing it with the college football playoff right now. I'm not for a scenario that takes more than 2 seconds to explain to the public.
That's very well said.
The college football, as you know, I don't need to explain how complex it is to you. It is a fucking mess. TJ said it perfectly on Mostly Sports the other day. We all of us in the room are very invested in it. We work in sports in a living. We're watching every second of it, and we still like have to take a second to like, okay, so Miami's the 9 seed, but they're the 4 seed, but that's right because that's right. Okay, so then they're there. But SMU is the 12 seed,
but they're not in the top 12.
Or Georgia's the 12 seed, but they're the first team out.
Ohio State is,
but they're the SMU is the,
and they're the 5.
Yeah.
And there's gonna be, and listen, as many times as you explain or Brandon explains it or Reese Davis explains it, there will be people that tune in, casual fans, on the first time for the selection show, and they're gonna say, "What the fuck is this?"
And I'm worried that I don't want the NCAA tournament, the basketball tournament, to be that. It's already like complicated enough where, you know, they have like they have a handful of rules that then make it confusing for people, which is to say that, like, you know, conference, they try to break up the conferences. If there's a world where Ohio State and say a Purdue or an Indiana are both 1 seeds, or I guess that they couldn't be in the same bracket. If there's a 1 seed and a 2 seed, if they're in the same conference, they're not going to put them both in the same bracket. They're going to find a way to mix that around. And even explaining that to people, and explaining that it's driven regionally, because then there are situations where, like, Kentucky and Louisville fans are like, I swear to God, the committee did this on purpose for ratings, to make Kentucky and Louisville play each other in the tournament. They put us in the same bracket for ratings, and it's like, yeah, maybe, but also everything is regionally driven, and you guys are right next to each other, so of course you're going to go to the same, and you're not in the same conference, so of course they're just going to. They're going to put you in the... Anyway, there are those rules that when the bracket comes out, people are like, no, wait a second. How come this and this and this? I don't want it to also be there are a certain number of buys and there's play-ins. And, of course, on this night, like, we make this... The play-ins, you already... I understand it, but the general public is confused by why 16 seeds are playing, but then you also have, like, 11 seeds playing. It makes sense to me. What I'm saying is, if you want to cast a wide net and get as many people into this as you can, just keep it simple.
Correct.
Keep it as simple as possible. That's what made the NCAA tournament so great for so many years, and it's still great. But like
this is all money, right? Like the only thing this could be is money.
Of course it is. Yeah.
Well, I don't understand where he says like there is room to add. Yeah, you can play as many as you fucking want, Charlie. You can make it 128 if you want.
But that's why if you're going to expand it, I think I'm at the point where if you're going to expand it, just do 128, and at least that you can at least explain that to you're just like, listen, we have 128 teams. We then rank them based on how good they are. The best teams get the 1 seed. The worst teams, I guess, would get. How many teams you adding for that? So you're adding another 64 teams. That's another round. That's 32. So 32 seed.
No.
Right?
No. I think. Do some math real quick.
Yeah, it's 32.
Am I wrong?
Yeah.
If you're adding 64 teams, you're adding 16 more seeds.
You're adding 16 seeds. It would be 120. What's 128 divided by 4?
I think. Well, let me do it. 128 divided by 4. There's
32.
All right, I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Cut that.
Yeah.
I was a language arts teacher. I was language arts.
Come on. Yeah, you'd say the worst teams get the 32 seed, the best team get the 1 seed, and away we go, and you play and you move on, and that's an easy.
And it makes sense.
But I also don't want to fill out a bracket for. That's my biggest pushback, I think, on the expansion is like when you hold a bracket on Selection Sunday, it fits so perfectly on an 8x11.
I don't think you can fit 128 on one sheet.
128 is too much.
You're going to need to go 2 sheets.
And I'm still, and I will forever be, this is a promise in front of God and country. This is my promise to the American people. I will forever be a write my bracket out guy. Wow. I will never be a fill out the bracket out. Now, I will go back and do it. If I'm entering a pool or whatever, I'll click around on the websites and submit. But when that bracket comes out, I need the paper, and I'm writing it out. Man. Other fraud power ranking honorable mentions. Todd Golden,
recurring guest.
The head basketball coach at Florida has been in the news this past week. What for, you might ask? Great question. He is in the news because he has a freshman who stands 7'9" by the name of Olivier Roux. Who has still not played, Tate. Mm-hmm. And that's why Todd Golden is.
And that's why he's on. Listen, I know the fraud watch is all you. Florida fans might need to be honorable mention here soon, too. You're either right or you're wrong.
You're either right or wrong. Yeah, we'll see.
And that little standing ovation when he got introduced, you're either right or you're wrong.
I'll say this. My number one fear in life is being wrongfully accused of something. I lose my fucking mind when it's like a cookie that's been taken out of the cookie jar.
Yeah, Titus
Someone's like, Titus did that. And I will unravel in the snap of a finger if I'm wrongfully accused of anything. So, if that is in fact what is going on here, I'm a fan of due process. I'm a fan of finding out the truth, but I'm also... I feel like this should not take that long to figure it out, right? That's what we said when we initially. It should be like.
Do you have proof that he did this?
Yeah.
Show us the dick pic.
It should be a quick.
I just need to see the dick pic.
It should be a quick thing. So I want Todd Golden to not have done this. Obviously, that would be great. But it seems like a weird thing to lie about.
There's smoke, there's fire.
Sure, yeah.
But yeah, you don't want to be accused of anything. My stance on situations like this is I'm not taking a side either way until it's decided.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's brave of you, man.
Yeah, so stay tuned for my thoughts on the Todd situation.
I'll let you know when it's a wait and see situation. Yeah. It's a situation we'll be monitoring. In the meantime, he's a fraud because he continues to not play Olivier. The Florida fans were chanting for it. The student sections were like, we want Ollie, I think they call him. I think Ollie might be his nickname or whatever. They're 3-0. Florida is. Every game they've won by 15 or more points. There's been a situation in every game where even if this guy sucks and he can't run and chew gum at the same time, you still could throw him out there and you could still give the people
tallest
a look
player
at him.
In college basketball history.
I guess are they maybe considering redshirting him and they don't want to burn the red shirt somehow? I don't know, but even then I think you can play him and then still decide later to redshirt him.
What's that movie?
I don't know. Get him out there.
You seen Rebound? The movie Rebound, where they bring in the secret weapon. Maybe he's the secret weapon.
What's Rebound? Is that Little Bow Wow?
Who's the?
Is that the Little Bow Wow?
No, I don't know his name.
Basketball movie? Are you thinking of? Is that the one with the golden retriever?
Martin Lawrence.
Martin
where
Lawrence?
he sticks the icy hot under their arm so they play defense with their hands up.
Oh, is that the movie where the one brother dies and then he's a ghost and he's helping the ball go in the basket?
No, it's where Martin Lawrence goes coach.
What's the basketball movie where they put flubber on the guy's shoes and makes him jump higher? Where they put the flubber.
Is that the movie's called Flubber?
Oh, it's called Flubber. Okay, yeah. I wasn't sure if that was Rebound. Sorry, I was being such a dick. I didn't even hear what you said about the icy. What they put icy hot in the?
Well, just the fact that they had a really tall violinist player that was no good, but they treated him as a secret weapon. Maybe they're waiting to unleash the secret.
I don't think
weapon.
I've seen Rebound. Now that you mention it,
you have to.
I gotta go watch Rebound. Martin Lawrence.
Hey, he goes back. He gets in trouble for getting ejected or whatever in a high level game, so he gets a next job at a middle school. Pretty funny.
Did you see the Ben Affleck movie where he that was like 5 years ago or something, where he was drunk and he had to go back to middle school? All right. He was a basketball coach that what was that one?
Really?
Ben Affleck, yeah, the premise was I think Ben Affleck, it was like a Gordon Bombay. What if Mighty Ducks was very serious? Cuz Gordon Bombay was DUI.
Yeah.
Gordon Bombay had to coach the youth because of a DUI.
The Way Back.
The Way Back is what it was called. Was that movie good?
I haven't seen it. 2020. I had COVID.
Oh, you had COVID.
I missed that one.
Here.
Yeah.
Yeah, basketball movies. Should do a basketball movie show at some point.
Coach Carter.
Could probably be an off-season. It's probably an off-season thing. All right, so here are your fraud. Here's your fraud power rankings actual list. At number 5, the Michigan State Spartans. I have been fighting the chorus of people for years now that say, why is Michigan State in the Champions Classic? I'm a Big Ten guy. I love Tom Izzo. I respect Tom Izzo. I respect Michigan State. Michigan State's one of the few programs in the Big Ten. I will never root for a Big Ten team to win a national championship. They're one of the few programs that I think if they did win a national championship, I would be okay with it.
Really?
I would be okay with it. I wouldn't be mad about it.
Where does that attitude come from?
My respect for Tom Izzo, my belief that they earn it, my belief that they are one of the premier.
So you don't root for the Big Ten?
No.
Oh wow.
No, like I'm not. If I don't want the Big Ten to win a national championship. I don't want our rivals to win a national championship. Are you kidding me? If Illinois is playing a national championship, why the fuck would I cheer for the team that I want to beat all year?
You'd cheer for
why would I cheer for
Alabama
Michigan
or Florida or whatever if they were playing?
I wouldn't cheer for the. I would just have no.
Okay.
You
don't want the Big Ten to win titles.
No,
it's not our team.
I'm not an SEC guy. I'm not like. If Minnesota makes their way to the national championship and they're playing Villanova, say, I'm just like, I don't care who wins. There's no part of me that's like, come on, Minnesota, do it for the conference.
Represent. But Tom Izzo, you respect.
In fact, I would say I'm not cheering against them, but after the fact, if Minnesota was to win a national championship, I would be a big time hater, and I would be like, how the fuck? Like the Big Ten hasn't won a title in decades now. How the hell did they do it? Like it should have been us. I would have been like, fucking Minnesota, are you kidding me? And I would say that about just about any program in the Big Ten, with the exception of probably Michigan State. If Michigan State won it, I would not say, What the fuck? Michigan State? Yeah. How come they get to be the team that breaks the curse? So that's the preamble to what I'm going to say now. I can't deny it anymore that Michigan State does not belong in the Champions Classic. The Michigan State is bringing that event down. The Michigan State is 2-7 in their last 9 Champions Classics. The 2 wins were one in double overtime. A couple years ago, I think it was against Kentucky. They won in double overtime, which counts. I'm not saying it doesn't count, and it made for a thrilling game. But it was also like, for an event that will produce every so often a blowout, every so often a comfortable win, a double overtime win that the ball bounces your way and that's how you get your dub isn't exactly emphatic and like, see, we do belong, haters. They won in double overtime. The other win was in Durham. It was against Duke. It was also in front of 0 fans during COVID, during a wonky COVID year where they called it the Champions Classic.
It's a Mickey Mouse.
It was a Mickey Mouse. Those are the 2 in the last 9 years that Michigan State has won in the Champions Classic. A far more likely outcome for Michigan State when they participate in the Champions Classic is what we saw on Tuesday, which is 3 for 24 from the 3-point line. They hang around enough against a far superior team that you tip your cap and you're like, man, Tom Izzo's kind of done it again with this roster that's not talented. He took the number 1 team to I thought with 5 minutes left they might be able to pull it out.
They just would have made a couple more threes.
And then they don't, and then they lose, and then and then everyone, the national voices are like, why is Michigan State in this event? And I'm like, I don't know, man. They belong, right?
It's a brand name, that's why.
And I got to be honest, I went back and looked, and I was like, I guess they kind of don't. And I guess at this point, if you're calling your event the Champions Classic, and you have a UConn that's won back-to-back championships, maybe it is time for UConn to slide in there.
So you would try and sub Michigan State out, or would you try and add a third game?
Why not add a third game?
I love that you're back in on the Champions Classic after a great Kentucky Duke game. I think the early season marquee games are fucking awesome.
They're awesome, yeah. It's just we got to make sure they're marquee games and they're not 3 for 24 from an unranked Michigan State team and Calder's your best player out there. I think that's the issue.
I'm looking at the history of the Champions Classic. The attendances are hilarious. 21,000, 0. That was when Michigan State beat Duke.
Dude, zero could have been Tuesday night too. By the way, I mean that felt like no one was there for that game.
16,000 is the lowest there's been in a
They got to spice it up. Michigan State, like when Michigan State was put into this event, it made sense. you gotta earn your keep. I've been a proponent for a while of doing some sort of event with last year's Final Four.
I was going to ask you
that would be interesting, right?
How plausible is that? Is that something where if you make it, you're in this event and we can just do that? Or
because the basketball schedules aren't like football schedules. Football schedules, like Ohio State football knows who they're playing in 2048.
Yeah, legitimately.
We've already scheduled a non-conference game against a school that doesn't exist.
We got Georgia coming up in 9 years. Yeah. Home and home.
They schedule so far out. Basketball, they don't finalize schedules till like weeks before the season starts. So like, yeah, that shouldn't be hard to do. The Final Four ends. I don't know if you'd want rematches though, or do you spice it up? Do you have
what's the best idea to do?
Do you have Purdue play Duke and NC State play UConn or something? Or not Duke? Why did I say Duke? Bama. I mean, Duke played NC State in the Elite Eight. Purdue play Bama. And UConn play NC State.
Yeah, like the
run cross over what the Final Four matchups were, but it's still last year's Final Four. I don't know. I don't know how to. My Galaxy Brain idea I had like 10 years ago, and then I realized it was stupid. But I also that's kind of my function in the college basketball media space to just come up with shitty ideas, but then maybe they're not so shitty if you sit on them a little bit. Play the Champions Classic, make it an actual champion. There's an irony there that the Champions Classic does not have an actual champion. It's not a tournament. They don't. The winners don't play each other. Maybe you do make them play. If you're doing it on Tuesday, maybe on Wednesday night the two winners play.
That would be electric.
That would be great.
You had a quick knockout round.
And my Galaxy Brain idea was if you win the Champions Classic, you get an auto bid to the NCAA tournament. You do a Final Four. You do last year's Final Four. Plays in the Champions Classic, and the winner gets an auto bid. And everyone's like, well, what's the point of the rest of the season? I'm like, exactly. That would be hilarious.
I was going to say, you have to have some sort of reward for the winner, because if I'm doing a replay of the Final Four and I'm UConn, fuck no.
Yeah.
Like, I'm the king of, like, if I beat you once and you say, all right, let's do another shooting contest. Sorry, dude.
Yeah, I already won.
Like, I'm not.
But if it's an auto bid to the NCAA tournament and it's NC State, UConn, Purdue, and Alabama, and the winner gets an auto bid, and say Alabama wins, and Alabama then gets to play the rest of the season knowing that they've already made the NCAA tournament. That's fascinating to me, watching Nate Oates have a group of guys that don't have to earn their way to the NCAA tournament, but you also, when the NCAA tournament comes around, you want them to be ready to play. It's a bad idea. It's always been a bad idea, but
keep them coming.
I had that idea when it was when Cal was at Kentucky, and I just thought that would be funny to watch, like a group of these one and done guys like be unmotivated and they just fully lean into being the NBA team of college basketball.
Cal at Kentucky would be the perfect team to win the Champions Classic.
Get an auto bid
and then be like,
and then just chill. But then they look up and they're like, fuck, we chilled too much. We're a 14 seed in the tournament.
He would have them breaking records. He'd be like, all right, tonight is so-and-so's turn to try and break the scoring record.
This was the fourth straight Champions Classic that Michigan State was the lowest ranked team in the event. I'm just saying they're not, as the kids say, beating the allegations. Are they still saying that? Is that still a phrase? Cody shook his head. He said no. He said that one's done. They're not. I just need to see something out of Michigan State. They were the number one team in the country not too long ago. I'm not giving up on them as a program. I'm not giving up on the idea of Michigan State being good. I'm just saying that every year the Champions Classic rolls around, the national voices say, what are we doing with Michigan State? I push back, and I got to say, I can't push back anymore. The fight is on. I think Michigan State might be a Champions Classic fraud.
They're 29th right now, and obviously 2025 is still getting commits. They're the 29th in recruiting rankings for next year.
Yeah. They have 3 billionaires that are heavily into basketball that I know of off the top of my head, in Magic Johnson, Matt Ishbia, and Dan Gilbert. Michigan State should be.
They should be, but They
should not be rolling out like a fucking carousel of tall, stiff white dudes. That should not be what Michigan State is doing. What are we doing, dude? How do you have this roster, Tom? How are we not tapping into this money?
The billionaires are fighting amongst each other.
I think that's what's going on. At number 4 on the Fraud Power Rankings, Pat Kelsey, head coach of Louisville, who, as you remember, Tate, made a video of himself walking around the campus of the University of Louisville, begging for students to come to the Tennessee game. He wasn't even taking yes as an answer. That was crazy.
Yeah.
You going to the game? Yeah. Do you mean it? Yeah. You really mean it?
Say you swear.
Coach, I'm going to the fucking game. Like, what are we doing here? Yeah. He puts that out to get the fan base riled up, to make sure the student section's pumped. Louisville, I don't know if they actually did sell out.
No, they were 6,000 short.
I think
they were Titus. They were giving out free tickets.
But they had all they were doing the whiteout. They were doing, I think they had like towels and some shit. There was a little bit of an energy in the Yum Center that hasn't been there in a few years. I think it
was the largest November crowd in the last 6 years.
Yeah,
which is
cool. So there was it wasn't like Louisville of old, but it was on the path, and you're starting to feel a little bit of juice coming back to the program. And then they lost by 22, and were basically down by 10 points the entire game, and it was never close. And Tennessee started up. I think they did start up 10-0. They started up 10-0. Louisville led literally 0 seconds of the game, and in fact, not only did they not lead at any point in the game, they were down by double digits virtually the entire game.
Yeah, I think it was 38-16 in the first half, and it's like, thanks for coming.
They are so Pat Kelsey likes to play fast, likes to shoot threes. It's modern basketball. That's nothing new. That's not a novel concept, I guess, in 2024. But he's doing it with a team that right now is 9th in the country in 3-point attempts per field goal attempt. So that's the stat. Like, what is your 3-point rate? Like, how of all the shots you're taking, how many of them are threes? Mm-hmm. Louisville is 9th in the country at their 3-point appetite, we'll call it, right? They're shooting 28% from the 3-point line. So they are, what they don't have in makes, they are making up for with quantity. They're just like, they're like, yeah, we're not making a lot, but we are taking a lot.
Right.
And is that,
and then the key to scoring, taking shots and then making, they've already got one of the two things.
I think they'll turn it around though. They do have a lot of shooters. They have a lot of guys that are that they brought in that have throughout their career shot the ball well, and right now in the early part of the season they have not. And Tennessee's a good defensive team, and I think they'll eventually start making shots and they'll figure it out. But rough showing. That's a rough turn of events to go on campus and say come check us out. You got to see the new look Louisville Cardinals, and then they get their asses kicked. And
shout out Tennessee though. Tough. People are saying Tennessee, we need to talk about them more. They look good.
Yeah, they did look good. Number 3 on the fraud power rankings, John Shire. I can't stop thinking about the play call against Kentucky. I can't stop thinking about coming out of a timeout. He at least, he gets the ball to Cooper Flagg. That's good, I guess. Mm-hmm. Like, at least he can identify who the best player on the floor is. But what a disappointment that's basically what he drew up. What a disappointment that you have Con Knipple, you have Tyrese Proctor, who's not, Cooper Flagg's talent level, but is a very capable college basketball player. Was having a pretty good game. You have Maluach, who can be a rim run lob threat. You have Caleb Foster, who's a good shooter. Wasn't shooting the ball well on that night, so I'm not saying draw up the play for them. But you have weapons. You have decoys. You have all sorts of tools at your disposal. And your plan was, let's just give the ball to the 17-year-old and clear out and let him make something out of nothing. When, as we said in the Champions Classic recap, that is like the one thing that I think Cooper Flagg can't do right now is, or he can do it, but he's not fully confident in it. He's not a confident fellow when it's a one-on-one situation. It's like, all right, Cooper, you got the mismatch you want. Now go get a bucket. That's the one time where I feel like he's not quite at an elite level yet. Yeah. And John Shire put him in that situation, said, go win the game against Kentucky.
I went home and I watched the play back to like make sure that because we did it live and then we came here and we talked about it. I went back and I watched it back and I thought, was there something we were missing? Was there another action? No, it was literally 1 fake screen, 2 fake screens, 3 fake screens, and then just give him the ball.
And then just give him the ball and spread out.
And John Shire should know that's not. You're right. The truest answer is you got to get it to Cooper Flagg there. He did have a very good game before that. You didn't use any of your other weapons.
Yeah.
It was hey, ISO ball, hero ball. You're the best player. Give him the ball. And he's not great with the ball yet.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know. I wanted more creativity from Shire and beyond that, like just the way Duke choked that game away was brutal, to be honest. Mm-hmm. And I think Duke will figure it out, but Shire, as a reminder, as Jared McCain's balling out for the Sixers, Shire, as a reminder, last year had a Final Four path. Just Jamal Shed rolls his ankle against Duke, and the Final Four path is just wide open. And they beat Houston, and now they have to beat NC State. NC State team that beat them in the ACC tournament, and you're like, there's no way this NC State team. I know NC State was playing well, and they were on a magical run, but there's no way NC State is going to beat us twice in a couple weeks when we have the talent we have. They had the Final Four was just there for the taking, and Duke got kind of blown out.
Yeah, I was going to say,
blown out. Dude.
That was the most confident Elite Eight game. They lost the second half 55-37 as we're all sitting around being like, all right, this is an easy win for Duke.
So, yeah, at what point Shire's still, early in his career, and this is just year 3 for him, and I'm not in no way, shape, or form am I putting him on the hot seat. In no way, shape, or form am I saying he's not going to be a good coach or anything else. But there is an insane expectation at Duke, and when you're following not only the greatest coach in the history of your program, basically the only coach in the history of your program, and also arguably the greatest coach in the sports history, losing games is fine. Losing them when it feels like you got out-coached, I don't know how much patience Duke fans will have moving forward. Their non-conference schedule is tough. The ACC is not good. They'll stack up wins. But I am curious, like, with the talent they have, and they were saying it, everybody on ESPN was saying it. Now, the ESPN employs a million Dukies, so, like, I think it was just a lot of the Duke voices. But everyone's saying it 3 games into the season, this is the most talented team in the country. Mm-hmm. Is it Final Four bust for Shire? Is it, like, at what point? He's only in year 3, but with this talent, I don't know. These are the questions I'm asking, Tate. I'm still trying to calibrate what the expectations should be for this Duke team.
The one thing about Duke is yeah, it looked like he got out-coached, and that's why they lost the game. He is still getting dudes. Like, they had the number one recruit this year and number 1 class. They have the same thing next year. They've already got the Boozer twins coming. They've already got 4 or 5 stars. He is going to continue to get 5 stars and dudes. You got to win with them.
I'm not saying they're going to fire him if he loses.
Right.
I'm just saying, like, at what point? Is he Calipari or is he? Yeah, like, I don't know. We're still trying to figure out what kind of coach John Shire is going to be, and I think after this season the cement is going to start to dry, and we're going to start to figure out some things. And if Tuesday night was the first hint at what we can expect this season, it's going to get interesting. That's all I'm going to say. Mm-hmm. But Duke is very good, and I still believe that Duke is national title good. But just to see John Shire, to see Mark Pope coach circles around John Shire was concerning, to say the least. At number 2 on the Fraud Power Rankings, the Free Lutheran Bible College, which I did not know existed until yesterday. But I have now learned that the Free Lutheran Bible College is a school that has a basketball team that is, and I say this without hesitation, the worst college basketball team of all time. They are the worst college basketball team I have ever seen. I cannot imagine a situation where a college basketball team is worse than this. They are 0-2 on the season, Tate. Okay. Their 2 losses. Ooh. They lost 85-5. 85-5. That's not a typo. That's not a verbal typo. That is not me fucking something up. They lost 85-5 to Faith Baptist Bible.
That's a good Faith Baptist Bible team.
That's one of the better Faith Baptist Bible teams. It was 63-3 at halftime. They then followed that up, losing 87-11.
Ooh, improvement.
To Crown College out of Minnesota. Their JV team, Tate. Not even the varsity team. Not even coming. Crown College is a Division III school. This is their JV team that they sent to play Free Lutheran Bible College, and they beat them 87-11 against a Division III JV school. So I was curious. I was like, is it just this specific team? Are they off to a bad start? Do they have like one? Or is it a school that they only have one scholarship at the school, and they gave it to one player, and that guy's hurt? Like, what? There's got to be more to the story. So I go to their website. I go to last year's team. Right, last year's team went 0-24. They lost every single game by 17 points or more. They played their alumni team, Tate. Their alumni team beat them by 10.
Oh.
And that's when I realized
they might be bad.
That's when I realized that this iteration's because the alums, if you're an alum of Free Baptist Lutheran, you're like, dude, we used to have some players.
What happened?
What happened to this program I love? They're 0-24. The alums are beating them.
This box score, I'm looking at the 85-5 box score. First of all, shout out Weston Johnson. All 5 points.
Can you imagine a team of like Scooney Penn and Greg Oden and Terrence Dials and going back to Columbus, and they do that. They do that in the offseason. The veterans will play the current players. Now the difference there is a lot of the veterans are the NBA guys, and you'll have like Mike Conley and D'Angelo Russell and Jay Sean Tate.
It's a little different.
That feels a little different. I'm guessing the Free Baptist Lutheran guys are not exactly alums, are not exactly NBA players, and they beat them by 10. I'm so fascinated with the school. So I tried to dig deeper. I'm like, when's the last time they won a game?
Yeah.
Their website, as far as I could tell, it only went back like 2 years, 3 years, whatever. So it was this year, the year before they went 0-24. The year before that they went 0-24. I have no idea when the last time the school won a game is. They were 0-24, 0-24. They're now 0-2, and they've lost both games by 80 and by 76.
This box score needs to be studied in a museum. How many? First of all, the guy that had all 5 points. How many turnovers do you think he had? He had all 5 points.
You have the full box score?
I have the full box score, and there are a couple stats that are astonishing. Like, I'm looking around. If you're the guy that has all 5 of your team's points, do you think he's like, come on, guys, you got to help me out?
What do you have, 11 turnovers?
14. And then here's my final one for you, Titus. How many shots do you think they took in an 85-5 loss? How many shots do you think they got up as a team?
30?
24.
They shot 24 times.
They went 2 of 24 with
They only got 24 shots
turnovers. I got to see this team play.
They had 40 We were watching clips on Mostly Sports yesterday.
Their games are full games on YouTube.
Oh, really?
Go watch the full games on YouTube.
You should
It's
go,
awesome.
go live after one of those.
So again, I found that they're 0-2 this year, 0-24, 0-24, and I'm like, I need to know more about the history. The alumni team, as we said, beat them by 10.
yeah,
Was the alumni team good? Are you taking guys from like 5 years ago and they were winning games and now all of a sudden the program's falling off? So I do some Googling. I find this open letter written by Dr. Wade Mobley on March 4th, 2021. Now, I don't know who Dr. Wade Mobley is, but if you're a doctor and you're affiliated with a university, I'm going to imagine you're an important figure. And if you're writing open letters, like you're probably somebody. Maybe the president, whatever. The title of this letter is Zero Success.
Oh, he's angered.
He's the opposite of angered.
Oh,
he's the opposite of angered.
He likes that.
If you ask any Free Lutheran Bible College player, coach, or support staff about this basketball season, this is from 2021, you won't have to wait long to figure out that they deem it a success. Overwhelmingly, the response will reflect thanks to God for a season of growth, some semblance of normalcy, and an amazing new facility to call home. This season has been a resounding success. Later this morning, both teams will play their final game of the season, talking men's and women's. If neither team wins, Free Lutheran Bible College basketball will finish the 2020-21 campaign a combined 0-30. Now, I hope they win. I have some level of confidence that they will, so let's say 2-28, best case scenario. But worst case, I'm calling 0-30 a success. It's not because I'm not into winning. I've played and coached a lot of basketball. Never once have I entered a game without an intention of winning, and a bit of melancholy when we didn't. Nor have I ever competed a season without tears. I care to a fault, but if it comes down to it, I'm calling 0-30 a success. And then he goes on to explain like these kids, what they've had to endure and how they've stuck with it, makes them winners in my book. And then there's a note at the end that says the Conqueror women's team won their final game of the season, beating Oak Hills Christian College 44-38. The final combined record was 1-29 for the school.
And the rest of the year, the girls probably look at the guys like, you guys suck.
You guys suck ass.
You guys are ass.
I'm so fascinated by this school. I honestly to God do not know if they've ever won a basketball game as a program. There's no evidence from what I could tell, and I spent like 20 minutes Googling this, which is a lot for me. From what I can tell, there's no evidence that they've won even one single basketball game in the history of their program.
How do you go there and play basketball?
I don't know.
We got to get them in the office. You think we beat them?
Yes, I think we could beat them.
You think
you got to Tate? You have to watch this team play.
All right. That's
you have to. We were watching.
Seen them. I haven't.
We were watching them on Mostly Sports. You have to watch them play. Free Lutheran Bible College. At number 1 on the fraud power rankings, the State Board of Regents for the state of Kansas, because I was doing a little deep dive on Fog Allen the other day. So Bill Self on Tuesday breaks Fog Allen's record as the winningest coach in the history of Kansas basketball. Fog Allen won 590 games for the Jayhawks. Got the building named after him. He's an absolute legend. He is, he's considered one of the greatest coaches of all time, not just in college basketball and all of sports. He invented his one of his monikers is like the father of coaching. Like he invented coaching. Mm-hmm. He coached Adolph Rupp and Dean Smith, who then went on to be Adolph Rupp and Dean Smith.
What a coaching tree.
His coaching tree is unbelievable. He learned the game from the guy who invented the game. He invented he's basically credited with like, he was a literal doctor. He was credited with being one of the first guys to like take, not treating your body like shit seriously. Yeah. Like part of being a great athlete is like stretching, touch your toes a little bit, don't smoke cigarettes, shit like that. Take care of your body and that'll make you a better athlete. He apparently treated Mickey Mantle at one point in his life. He was like, Jesus. Like Mickey Mantle was going to him for, he's a Kansas basketball coach. He's credited with inventing the NCAA tournament. It was a Fog Allen idea. He's credited with basketball being an Olympic sport. His credentials are unfucking believable. Yeah. He's one of the most storied human beings in the history of sport, and certainly in college basketball. Was part of the inaugural class when the Basketball Hall of Fame started in the 50s. He was part of the inaugural class. He was a no-brainer. Let's put him in there. What I didn't know about Fog Allen until I started reading up on this, and Kansas fans, I apologize because I'm sure this is something all of you knew and have known forever, but I only know the surface level stuff. But I was doing a deep dive on Fog Allen. What I didn't realize was that in 1956, Fog Allen was forced to retire at the age of 70 because of a statute in the state of Kansas that said if you're basically a public employee and you turn 70, get the fuck out.
What?
You got to get out. And Fog Allen was like, I'm Fog Allen. What are we doing? Like, I come on. There's got to be an exception. And the state board of regents said, no, there's no exception. We don't care. Like, listen, Fog, we respect what you've done for the university. You got to go. He was forced into retirement. He was upset about this because he's Fog fucking Allen, one. Right. They had just opened Allen Fieldhouse. So they just built the greatest arena in college basketball. Oh. Kansas is now playing in Allen Fieldhouse. It bears his name. He is the greatest coach in the history of the sport. At this moment in time, it wasn't even close. He's, in the 50s, it's like he is the guy. But furthermore, Tate, that his final year at Kansas, when freshmen couldn't play on the team at Kansas, he had a freshman on campus by the name of Wilt Chamberlain, who was not eligible to play for him, who would become eligible the following year. And Fog Allen, unfortunately, was turning 70 years old. They gave him the boot. They said, you got to go. The next year, Fog Allen is not coaching. Wilt Chamberlain's playing. Dick Harp is the new coach at Kansas. They go to the national championship game. They lose to North Carolina. I wasn't alive to see it. It wasn't on television. I can't tell you what happened in that game. You read accounts of that game. Frank McGuire coached circles around Dick Harp.
Yeah, Fog Allen wins that game.
Fog Allen wins that game. And I'm sitting here reading all this last night on my couch, and I'm like, Fog Allen got fucked, dude.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Whoa, what the hell?
Who in their right mind on the Kansas board, were they just like, hey, sorry, rules are rules?
I guess so. It's crazy.
But when he's like the god and he's the one that's done everything for the program and done literally, it seems like everything in the entire world.
Yeah.
Can't you maybe be like, hey, we can up that to like.
Can we make one exception?
Like Greg Popovich is 75 right now.
Yeah, he just had a stroke, dude. And
Andy Reid.
He's gonna coach till he.
Andy Reid's like the best. He's the best coach in football. He's about to be 70. Can you imagine like Kansas? Wait, is Kansas City?
Oh my God, is Kansas? Are the Kansas City Chiefs?
Cody,
a public,
can you fact check that?
Are they a public entity? Do the Kansas City Chiefs exist for the state of?
I think Kansas City's in Missouri.
Oh, it is Missouri. It is in Missouri. That's a great point.
But think of Andy Reid. They were like,
point.
Hey, Andy Reid, I know you guys are undefeated and you have Patrick Mahomes, but also we kicked Fog Allen out.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And rules are rules.
Yeah, rules are rules. You have to retire Andy Reid.
Crazy.
No, this would be, but then somehow, but then furthering that is like Andy Reid, the Chiefs have a top draft pick, and they know that, I don't know. I'm trying to think of like what the analogy would be for like having Wilt Chamberlain ready.
I don't think there is one. I think the only analogy is having Wilt Chamberlain.
Yeah.
In the 50s, you have Wilt.
You know what? Fuck it. The Kansas City Chiefs have Wilt Chamberlain coming down the line. Wilt Chamberlain is their draft pick in Kansas City. He's going to play for the Kansas City Chiefs, and Andy Reid just has to retire. That's crazy. I pulled this quote from an article I found. Finally, on March 30th, 1956, the Kansas Board of Regents named Harp as KU's new head coach, effective July 1st. Excuse me. The Regents also made a statement concerning denying Allen's written request appeal, because Fog Allen obviously appealed this, and on grounds of I'm Fog fucking Allen. The quote was this.
That's the whole letter.
This board has nothing but the highest respect for Dr. Allen and his desire to serve. This unhappy dilemma always occurs when the retirement rule is applied to a man or woman of vigor, ability, and national stature. However, the benefits resulting from the retirement rule far outweigh its disadvantages, and the board unanimously feels that it must be applied to all. I'm here to say you are fucking wrong on that. The benefit outweighs the disadvantages. Wrong. Erroneous.
Incorrect.
That is incorrect. They did not outweigh the advantages.
He had just won 2 NCAA tournaments in the past 5 years.
Yeah.
And listen, Titus, I hate to like, this is so funny to me because I hate to bring like the politics into it. They kicked him out at 70. And we just had two people, like Biden's 81, Trump's 78. And it's like, hey, Fog Allen, you got to step aside.
Fog Allen.
You just hit 70. You can't coach this ball team.
I don't know, man. I guess like 70 in the 50s was like 120 now, I guess. I don't know.
And he still wanted to coach.
It's crazy. Yeah, he still wanted it. And then they had Wilt Chamberlain.
I'm reading it. Back
when it was the Big
Six.
I don't mean to smear Dick Harp's name, but I have to imagine that Fog Allen. Although at the same time, maybe we should. Dick Harp? Your name is Dick Harp, dude?
How did they go to Dick Harp?
You played the Dick Harp? You played the
Seems like it. Seems like he did against Carolina.
Kansas has only had that. That was a talking point as a self beat Fog Allen. Bill has mentioned it a few times. I've seen other people bring it up. That Kansas has had 8 head coaches in the history of their school. That's pretty awesome.
Pretty crazy.
That's pretty crazy. History of Kansas basketball. There've been 8 head coaches.
Dick Harp had a. Oh, Dick Harp. This is tough look. You take over, you lose in the championship with Fog's guys. You then go 11-14. You go 7-8.
Yeah, in 3 years you go 11-14. Yeah. Yeah, Dick Harp had a 60% winning percentage. I don't know. I was
with Wilt
stunned.
Chamberlain.
I was trying to. Yeah, I mean, I'm reading this story and I'm just trying to. I did what you did about Andy Reid. Like I'm just trying to imagine like a modern scenario of this happening of going to a coach in college. It just simply would not happen.
I think the craziest part is with Fog Allen like actively fighting it.
Yeah.
And then the people being like, "Listen, man, we respect everything you've done, but you are 70."
Yeah. And them saying and them kind of having an attitude of like there's nothing we can do, even though there's literally you guys could stop this from
everything
happening.
You can do.
The Mark Titus Show is brought to you by Jack Black. Jack Black just came out with 4 new scents of their #1 deodorant, Pit Boss. Their deodorant is the best at controlling odor and wetness no matter what I'm doing, and now I can have my cleanser, lotion, and antiperspirant all in my favorite scent, which is a total game changer. Jack Black's original Pit Boss deodorant is a top seller, and now you can get the same reliable odor and wetness protection in 4 new masculine scents. Big Sur offers a refreshing aroma that mixes marine accord, and amber. Blue Midnight features adventurous notes of black pepper and lavender. Jack Zen presents a grounding blend of bamboo and violet. I've been using the Black Reserve. They sent me a little Black Reserve, which is, boy, it smells nice. Nothing better than smelling nice, dude. And Jack Black is getting it done. Jack Black was founded over 20 years ago with the goal of offering men's body care products that were just as effective as women's body care products. Their commitment to superior skincare has made Jack Black, according to Circana, the #1 men's body care brand by total dollar sales. I said this last time we talked about Jack Black. I'm going to say it again, fellas. You know that you're doing it. I know that you're doing it. You're in the shower. You're getting ready to start your day. You ran out of your product. You use your girlfriend, your wife, maybe a friend with benefits. You use her product and you say, "Damn, this is pretty good. Why don't I take my product seriously?" You should be doing that. Start doing that. Start doing that now. Use Jack Black. If you want simple, effective products that do what they say they're going to do, you need Jack Black. Head to getjackblack.com/Titus and use code Titus, TITUS, for 10% off your order plus free shipping. Once again, getjackblack.com/Titus, 10% off your order plus free shipping, and make sure you use promo code Titus so they know that I sent you. All right, before we get out of here, we gotta address our cross-off list. So if you missed last week's show, we have started. Tate was doing this with college football. The idea got floated my way of doing it with college basketball, and then Tate's on the show, and I was like, yeah, this is a great idea. We should do this with college basketball, especially because there's 364. I think we have 364 teams. So yeah, we have plenty of time to all season long cross off teams that we do not believe have the capability to win the NCAA championship this year. We started last week. And by the way, the other stipulation, if you missed it, if one of the teams we crossed off goes on to win the national championship, even though we said they definitively will not, I volunteered to go to that campus to be tarred and feathered, and then Tate decided, and then I wanted Tate to cross off teams too. So I said, "What the fuck? Let's throw you in there too." So he's now going to be tarred and feathered as well. So the two of us, again, will be tarred and feathered, and I will leave it to you to decide which one is tarred and which one is feathered. Having said all that, I'll never get sick of that. That's so.
It's
funny.
Every time.
It's so funny that we just stumbled across being tarred and feathered. I kind of some perverse part of me actually wants to be tarred and feathered.
Yeah,
I think that's hilarious.
I think it's a very good season long idea.
But at the same time, I don't want to. I being tarred and feathered would be funny, and I'd want to see it actually happen. But I don't want to actually go to the campus. I think that's the biggest.
Depends who wins.
Depends on who wins, I guess. Yeah. Oh shit! I'm gonna cross off the University of Hawaii and Pepperdine. Because they're not good.
No chance.
No chance. I have to go to Malibu and. Oh, shit. I guess I have to. All right. So that's what we're doing. We're crossing off teams that we don't think can win the national championship. Here are the teams that I decided this week to cross off. I'm starting with the two teams that lost to Villanova. I'm starting with Lafayette, and I'm starting.
That's my team.
Are you crossing off Villanova?
No, I was crossing off the New Jersey Institute of Technology Highlanders.
I'm crossing off the New Jersey Institute of Technology. So let's do that. New Jersey Institute of Technology Highlanders and the Lafayettes, the Lafayette Leopards, I believe they are, from Pennsylvania. Not to be confused with the Louisiana Lafayette Raging Cajuns, which I believe are
still on the list.
Which I believe are just called Louisiana now. Lafayette and NJIT, terrible acronym. They are both being crossed off simply on the grounds that you lost to Villanova. You lost a basketball game to Kyle Neptune. Now, I don't know. I reserve the right to change that criteria. If Kyle Neptune upsets UConn this year, it's going to be a tough conversation we're going to have. But as of right now, from what I've seen from Villanova and Kyle Neptune, if you lose to Kyle Neptune.
I like that. I like the idea of having criteria like if you have done this, you are off the list.
Kyle Neptune can't beat Columbia and St. Joseph's. So if he can beat you, you must really suck. And for that reason, Lafayette and New Jersey Institute of Technology, I've decided to cross off. Mm-hmm. I have also where's Lafayette? Let me cross Lafayette off. I'm also adding Indiana State to the list. They lost by 33 to Florida Atlantic to open the season. They just lost at home to SIU Edwardsville. Robbie Avila, like their whole team from last year, that was such a fun story. Their whole team is basically gone. Jason Kent, Julian Larry go to Texas. Swope and Avila, Josh Schertz, the head coach, they all go to St. Louis together. The St. Louis University, whatever. I didn't mean they were like, going on a fun little excursion. But yeah, Indiana State is not a good basketball team. They've fallen off a cliff, and as fun as they were last year, I think this year is going to be very much not fun for them. They're shooting a ton of threes. They are not making a ton of threes, and they just don't seem to have a ton of they've won one game against a school called Eureka, which I don't even know what that is. But yeah, Indiana State, as good as they were last year, I think this year they're just as bad. So I'm crossing Indiana State off. Who else did I put? Lindenwood, I'm crossing off.
You're willing to cross them off?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they won by 68 their last game, but they beat a team called the St. Louis College of Pharmacy I thought they beat St. Louis College of Pharmacy by 68, but I thought any team that has St. Louis College of Pharmacy on your schedule is not a serious national title contender. Mm-hmm. I think if you're going out there building the non-conference and you're like, you know who we need to get to on the schedule to get ready for the NCAA tournament, we need to get the St. Louis College of Pharmacy on the schedule. Yeah, I was dicking around on KenPom, clicking around on these teams and looking through schedules. I was like, they played a fucking pharmacy?
And blew them out. And blew them out.
They did blow them out. But
that's how you can tell that this is a serious list. If Lindenwood wins, where is Lindenwood, by the way? I think they're in. Guess, and I'll look it up.
Lindenwood is like, they're in like the Northeast, right? They're like a Northeast team.
California, I think.
They're a California team?
I think they're in Missouri.
They're in Missouri?
Damn.
So you said California, you said Missouri, and I said the Northeast. So we basically just touched the entire country.
To be clear, I said Missouri because I looked it up.
Oh, it's in Missouri?
Yeah, it's in Missouri. So we could be going to Missouri. We've crossed off now Missouri.
I guess they're playing the St. Louis Pharmacy. That was a huge miss by me. I didn't think that they were.
That's a buy game for St. Louis.
St. Louis Pharmacy flew to Connecticut to play in Lindenwood. I'm crossing off Youngstown State, who I watched Ohio State beat the shit out of. They cannot shoot to save their lives. They were 3 for 22 against Ohio State, and it was uglier than that. I can't remember them ever making a 3 against the Buckeyes. They were 5 for 19 from 3 against Chicago State the game before. This Youngstown State team cannot shoot the basketball. They are not going to win the national championship.
That's fine. I'm making a new rule that we might need to start talking before we cross off. If I'm willing to get tarred, I want to know who's getting crossed off. Because I have a Youngstown State hoodie.
You don't want to cross Youngstown State off?
No, I just would wish that.
Well, are we doing a list of hoodies you own, or are we doing a list of national title?
Maybe I would have worn the hoodie today and be like, oh shit, now I got to take this off.
Yeah.
All right, cross them off.
And then the other two I'm adding, Oakland, who beat Kentucky last year. Jack Golke is not walking through that door. Oakland last week loses to Boise State by 44 points. They go 3 for 26 from the 3-point line. I in the same vein as Indiana State, I'm crossing Oakland off just because I don't want to get enticed by the idea of I don't want last year's team to trickle over to this year too much. Jack Golke is not at Oakland anymore, and boy is it showing. Mm-hmm. They cannot shoot, and I'm crossing Oakland off. They're not going to win the national championship. And then finally, I'm crossing off Mercer, who lost by 31 to DePaul. Prairie View A&M was actually already off the list. They were in the SWAC.
Correct.
We had crossed them off.
Which is a criteria to be out.
They lost by 30 to DePaul. Mercer just lost by 30 to DePaul. And DePaul, before those two games, had not beaten any team by 30 points in 3 years. And now they're beating teams by – if you're losing by 30 points to DePaul, you're not winning the national championship. So I'm adding Mercer to the cross-off list. Those are the teams I've decided to add. Would you like to add any team?
The one team I would like to add, because I have a criteria of if you get beat by more than 57 points, you're not going to win one, and that would be the 0-3 Old Dominion Monarchs.
That's tough.
And that's just a suggestion.
Let me
Ultimately,
think on
you
it.
have the power of the pen.
Can Old Dominion win the national championship?
They've lost to Buffalo at home. They lost at Radford by 12, and they lost to Arizona by 58.
You know what? I think I'm going to do it. I think Old Dominion can't win.
They're out.
All right, so I'm making sure we got them all. Oakland, I said. Old Dominion.
Mm-hmm.
Old Dominion out. You're going to blog this throughout the year?
Yeah, I think I'm going to start publishing it.
Because we need to have a resource for people to visually see this.
Yeah, I think we have to have a tweet that this has been updated, maybe a breaking news. NJIT will not.
I did forget that we did Missouri. So we did Missouri and we did Lindenwood. Should we just cross Missouri off as a state?
Well, who's in Missouri? Is there anyone else?
Missouri State.
No, I'm not doing no rash decisions here.
Kansas City.
When
the Kangaroos.
Do we want to give a? I thought last time it was
St. Louis. I mean, obviously the Billikens.
Wait, where's Creighton at?
Creighton's Nebraska.
Okay.
Omaha. Somewhere in Middle America. John Ross.
Not crossing those motherfuckers.
Yeah. Not doing Creighton. Yeah, we still have a ways to go.
Is there a team that the Missouri thing was interesting? Is there a team that you're willing to?
Is there a team? I mean, Villanova. But I think it's funny to. I think it'd be funny to have a thing where we cross off teams that Villanova beat, but we leave Villanova on there.
Yeah, you never know. They're Big East.
Because you just never know. Dude, Villanova gets hot. And we've seen it before, dude. They've won 2 national titles recently.
Also, if they fire Neptune and hire Jay Wright midseason, I don't
that's
want
that's a great point.
I don't want them on this list. That's a great point.
That could happen. I'm not counting that out. And if that happens, yeah, I do not want to go to
Minnesota lost last
to Villanova
night
get tarred and feathered.
To North Texas.
Minnesota's interesting. Yeah. I think Washington is one we talked about last week. I think we could start. I want to save the power conferences for
it's a long season.
It's a long season. I want to get rid of the we got to clear some junk out of the way before we start diving into those.
Fair enough.
But yeah, we will cross off. What do you want to say? 5 to 10 every Friday until we we got to pick it up though.
Yeah, I would say
we got to pick it up. We got to pick up the pace.
Start getting some of the scraps out of the way. These next couple weeks of just teams that no chance.
Next Friday we'll do a huge cross off. Next Friday is the Thanos snap. I think we're just doing a mass cross off of.
So if you're a team that doesn't want to be crossed off, you have 1 week to show us.
1 week to show us. All right, I think that's all I got. We'll do cold ass white boys soon enough. But yeah, this is fun. Friday.
Big Friday.
Friday games to watch. Bama's at Purdue. Arizona is at Wisconsin. Buckeyes go to Texas A&M. It is a loaded Friday.
Great Friday.
Marquette at Maryland. Florida at Florida State. Wake Forest is at Xavier on Saturday. Skip Prosser game. Yeah, it's a great weekend of college basketball. But Friday, I guess we're doing that because of football. Is that the idea? Is that the idea of putting like the Carolina-Kansas game is on Friday? These games are all on Friday. We're loading up Friday because
and then we'll get our Saturdays.
College football Saturdays. Yeah, I'm okay with it. I guess. Yeah, I would prefer them to be on Saturday, but I guess this is how you can watch both.
Was there any part of you going to Mackey Arena this weekend? I figured that might be up your alley.
No.
You have Ohio State Northwestern Saturday.
Are you going?
I am going.
Buckeyes play at Wrigley Field on Saturday.
I walked by the field last night. It's awesome.
Is it really?
They already have
cool?
They have Ohio State Northwestern on the sign.
As a Cubs fan who went to Ohio State, this should be the coolest thing ever for me, and for some reason I'm just not feeling it. I don't know. I'm going, and I'm going to. I don't want to be a downer. I'm going to bring the excitement, but like, there's a voice in the back of my head that's like, this is going to be stupid.
If it's
not going to be.
If the spread was closer, would you care more? Like
that might be it. Yeah, I know we're going to win, but it's like I feel like it's going to be more of an oddity than like an exciting, cool.
It's like a novelty item.
Yeah, instead of like, oh my God, this is that they're playing. My favorite football team is playing in my favorite stadium. This is awesome. I'm going to be like, well, this doesn't make any fucking sense.
You've got to go.
Why are we doing this?
Are you going Ohio State hoodie and then Cubs hat?
Oh,
like, hey.
You know what? I have a hat. I have a Cubs hat in scarlet and gray, actually.
Really?
I have a scarlet and gray Cubs hat.
And you probably thought,
I've never
can
worn
I break that?
I've never worn it because I'm like, what? That seems weird. Well, Ohio State Cubs crossover. Like, what's the
never
purpose
a better
of that?
time than this.
I'm wearing it on Saturday. All right, that's it. That's the show. Thanks for watching and listening. We'll be back on Monday morning recording a new show, breaking down another great weekend of college basketball. We'll see you guys then.